Morning of March 16th, 2024, Calvin Castine at the, I'm going to call it the Pyramid Mall. The mall in Plattsburgh is still called the Pyramid Mall. What's it called these days?
No, it's called the Champlain Centre.
Champlain Centre. See, I'm from Champlain, so I object to people calling things Champlain when they're in Plattsburgh. But that's just me. And who am I speaking with?
My name is Sue Hager. I'm in the Education and Outreach Division of the Lake Champlain Basin Program.
All right. The first question I have is, what the heck is the Champlain Basin Program?
Oh my goodness. Well, the Lake Champlain Basin Program, what our mission is to get Vermont, New York, and Quebec to work together on water quality issues here in the Champlain region. We are federally funded, so in the early 90s, it was brought into a congressional act called the Lake Champlain Special Designation Act. So we are assigned a block of money that comes from them through the EPA to us so that we can help people in our region improve water quality. So it could be anything from working with river associations, watershed groups. We have the Lake George Association is here because they're part of our watershed as well. We also work with soil and water conservation districts so that we can really all work together to improve the water quality going into Lake Champlain.
Okay. And you are funded from the federal government then, or?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then you have, is it like grants that you offer?
Absolutely. So every year we have a pretty robust grant system. It could be for education and outreach projects. It could be for best management projects and practices here in the Lake Champlain Basin. It's really kind of a soup to nuts approach, so that it's not just one particular area that we're looking at, because we all have to look at what the whole big picture is. We all need to work together.
Okay. And you base this on could be somebody in Quebec even getting it, even though it's federally funded, or what does that happen?
So that works out a little bit differently, because all our money for that has to stay on this side.
Okay. So the grants are on
Correct.
south of the border.
South of the border, exactly.
Okay. Do you try to keep a pulse on which side of the lake is getting what, so that it's equitable, or do you just go on first come, first serve with a good?
So we have
plan?
we have a pretty competitive grant process. So it's not a first come, first serve. We have different committees that are made from people within the region who will evaluate each one of the submissions, and from there they'll be ranked, and the ones that have the top rankings will be the ones selected first.
Okay.
What I'd like to do too is I'd like you to meet Colleen Hickey. She is also part of that whole process, and she's been with the Lake Champlain Basin Program for over 30 years now.
So almost from the very start. Then.
Absolutely, absolutely. And she has been absolutely fantastic.
Okay. And if people want to learn more in the meantime, what should they do?
You can always go ahead and hop on our website, www.lcbp.org.
Everything you need to know is there.
Absolutely.
How to get a hold of people and so on. And you have a Facebook page too, I would hope?
We absolutely do. Look up Lake Champlain Basin Program on Facebook.
Okay. All right. Anything you want to tell me before you get rid of me? You're anxious to get rid of me, I can tell.
No, but I am going to hand you off to someone else.
All right. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Okay. I've been handed off to a guy named Ryan Mitchell, it says on your shirt. Is that you?
That's me, yep.
All right. And what's your job, Brian?
So I'm the Communications and Publications Coordinator for the Lake Champlain Basin Program.
Well, if you're a communications coordinator, you're the guy I should be talking to.
Well, I don't know about that, but we'll do our best.
And I guess I knew this, but I forgot it when I was talking to Sue. Today is a special day. What day is this?
Today is World Water Day, which is a worldwide celebration of water, our resources. It's important to everybody really at a very basic level.
Yeah, I think everybody's in favor of water. Right?
And clean water, yeah.
Clean water. Yeah, a couple times last year we had enough water.
And we've had some drought too.
Yes, that's right. So we never know what we're going to get. So.
Right.
Okay, so what's your main function, Ryan?
Well, so the Lake Champlain Basin Program has been involved with a World Water Day celebration for about 10 years now. And That's taken a few different forms. We had it over at Echo on the Burlington waterfront in Vermont for a number of years, but basically a lot of the people that we work with, our partners, get together and have a public event, and just as a great opportunity to get out and talk to the public and students and their parents about the importance of clean water worldwide, obviously, but also here in Lake Champlain, in the area around Lake Champlain. And so a part of that has always been a student contest, which often involves art or writing or photography, where we get submissions through the course of the year for the World Water Day event. And then we offer awards to most participants, actually, as it turns out, for the work that they've submitted. But it's a great opportunity for us to do education and outreach work, which is really one of the main goals of the Lake Champlain Basin Program. And so each year it's one of our biggest events. It's a great chance to get out and talk to the public.
So do you get the local schools involved to reach those kids?
We do.
What grade level are you looking at?
Yep. We get local schools involved, mostly kindergarten through 12th grade. Once in a while we do have some involvement with some college students as well. But yeah, it's a great way to get kids in the classroom, tying the artwork and the World Water Day and all of those things into what they're doing in the classroom. And so we work with some great teachers and great students who submit really, really phenomenal work. It's really impressive.
Okay, what are the main problems as far as keeping our water, particularly Lake Champlain, since that's or Lake Champlain Basin here, keeping that clean? What are we putting in there that we shouldn't be doing?
Well, I guess the biggest problem is nutrients, and specifically phosphorus, which is a critical nutrient for all life, but too much of it leads to the cyanobacteria blooms that we see in the lake, which close beaches. In some places can impact drinking water. That's not an issue in Lake Champlain, but mostly impacts our sort of recreational value of the lake and our use going to the beaches and whatnot. And so the phosphorus comes from a number of different sources. It comes from farm fields, it comes from our suburban lawns, people putting fertilizer on the lawns, erosion of riverbanks. So there are a number of sources of phosphorus. One of the challenges is to reduce the amount that's going into the lake, causing those cyanobacteria blooms.
So is there a safe distance from a river or stream that you can be and not have to be as concerned as somebody who's closer to it?
Well, the common sense rule of thumb is if you see it, don't go in it or let your children or pets in it. You can usually tell a cyanobacteria bloom. It's sort of a green sheen, green film, almost like paint or pea soup on the surface of the water.
I was thinking mainly about, since I grew up on a farm and live in farm country in Champlain, that putting your manure and whatever on a farm, is there some fields that are safer than others, is what I'm getting at.
Oh, I see. Well, I'm not as familiar with the agricultural management practices, but restrictions on when and where you can spread manure to begin with is one thing. Containing it on the farm is important too. But then also having buffers of trees and plants and vegetation along riverbanks to help sort of give a filter between the farm fields and the river. So some of that runoff from the farm fields goes through those trees and that vegetation. It helps filter the sediment and the pollutants out of it.
And once that water gets high, it goes wherever it wants. So
that's for certain, yeah, and it's getting there right now. We have a lot of water in the lake and the rivers right now. So
yeah, for this time of the year, we're probably a little higher as far as the lake goes than usual, but I don't think we have the mountain accumulation of snow that we usually have, so I don't think our spring runoff is going to be quite as high unless...
Won't be quite what it normally is, yeah. So we'll see. I mean, the lake is up high. There's still some time. I know there's some snow in the hills of Vermont, so hopefully it'll stay cool long enough to sort of release that a little bit more slowly over time.
Okay. So do you go around in your position to meet people and talk to people on a regular basis, or what do you do?
I personally don't do a whole lot of that. I do more of managing our websites and editing and designing our print materials that go out for these kind of events. My colleague Colleen Hickey, who's our education and outreach coordinator, does a lot of the programs, doing presentations and working with the public, as does other folks like Sue. Sue gets out and about quite a bit also. So.
All right, if you were holding this microphone, what would you want to know from Mr. Ryan Mitchell?
Oh, that is a great question. Probably what sort of exciting events are coming up. And
okay. Get us excited now.
That's what I'm trying to think of. What
Oh.
exciting events are coming up?
Besides, this is pretty exciting here.
Well, it is, and we've been so focused on this. And I guess actually what I can probably talk about best is some of our most recent events. So we've been looking forward to this for a long time, getting ready for this. And then we also just wrapped up our Love the Lake speaker series. We had the last presentation of 4 on Thursday night. And that's something we do each winter for 4 weeks, is have experts in various fields come in to our office over in Grand Isle in Vermont and do a presentation. And we had about 55 people for that on Thursday, which was great. And that series actually included a number of the scientists who are going to be featured in the film that's showing at noon today. And so that film is something we put together to feature scientists who are doing research or some kind of work on the lake to help people better understand not only the work that they do, but sort of also their personal story as well, what sort of drove them to study, what their motivations are, what they like about their work, some of the challenges and that kind of thing. So we're really excited about that film, which just came out a few months ago, and we're actually working on a next series of 5 scientists that we're going to be doing videos on. So that's pretty exciting.
Okay, you're pointing over your shoulder, and I'm looking at the Regal Cinemas
Regal
sign.
Cinemas, yes.
Is that where it's going to be shown?
It will be at the Regal Cinemas.
Theater?
Yep, so we'll be showing the Meet the Scientist film at noon at the Regal Cinemas, and then we're showing another film featuring Dr. Kurt Stager from Paul Smith College at 1:30.
Okay, so obviously people watching this, it'll be too late to see it. Will there be other opportunities? Is it available online or any of those types of things?
They are both available online. The Meet the Scientist video is available on the Lake Champlain Basin Program website. That's lcbp.org. And from what I understand, Kurt Stager's film is available on the Wild Center's website. I don't know that URL off the top of my head, but the Wild Center in Tupper Lake.
Wild
Yep,
Center.
great facility, super Natural History Museum. I'm told that film is on their website as well.
All right. Is that Tupper? I didn't look at that. There's a map behind it. Is that Tupper Lake water doesn't quite impact us? So
No, that's not in the basin, no. But a lot of his work does take place. I think some of his research is in the basin, and of course, sort of the applications of that research and its impacts on water quality as well.
Right. So even though they're not directly impacting, they're both on the same team.
Exactly. Yeah. All working towards the same goals.
All right. Anything else, Ryan, that I should be asking you before I move on?
I'm sure I'll think of something
Well,
just
of
as soon
course.
as we're done. But no, I think that's it for now. Thank you for being here and for filming us.
All right. Thank you. Now, I used to go to the Expos games with my camera and so on, and I met UP many, many times, but I've never had the opportunity to meet somebody dressed in blue here. Who is this?
Well, this is Ronnie the Ranger. So Ronnie works with the New York State Soil and Water Conservation Districts. So he helps everybody understand exactly what happens to our water, from the time it starts as precipitation all the way down to when it gets to Lake Champlain.
Oh, how does Ronnie do that?
Well, he usually has somebody like myself, or over here I have my friend Josh. He's with the Wild Center staff. So we always walk around with Ronnie, and we're able to talk about everything from what we can do to not pollute our environment, things that we can do to conserve water use, and how to have a really good time. Right, Ronnie?
Wow, that must be,
Pretty cool.
that is cool. All right, a cool raindrop.
Thanks, Ronnie. Have a good day.
So we're looking at the different fruits here. I may taste some of these later. Who am I talking to?
My name is McKaylee Glennon. I'm a senior research scientist with the Adirondack Watershed Institute at Paul Smith College.
I hope there's no acronym for all that.
AWI, PSC. There's a few.
MOUSE, I know that. Okay. So you're out of where? Where's your home office? Paul Smith's?
Yeah, Paul Smith's at the college, yep. And we're here today to celebrate World Water Day. And we have a project that is promoting clean water and healthy watersheds through using fiber art to illustrate in various ways the issues that affect our waterways. So all of these pieces have some story to tell about our waters in the Lake Champlain Basin and in the Adirondack Park.
This scarf is telling me a story. What's it telling me?
This scarf is about plankton communities in Lake Champlain, which have been studied by SUNY Plattsburgh for a long time. and they are changing as we see an increased number of blue-green algae, which is resulting in a decrease in the diversity and abundance of zooplankton species. So that's what that one is about. This is a real easy one to picture. This is the ice record on Lake Champlain and the years that it froze and didn't freeze. And so if you look toward the end, that is the more modern data, we have a lot more warmer years when the lake is not freezing
You're talking
completely.
freezing over completely?
Yes, yep.
Yeah,
So
there's always
that's,
some ice out there, not enough
there
to
was
step
some,
on.
yep. Yep.
Okay, and
I'm wearing an invasive species around my neck, as is Tom. There's some other ones here. These are some of the species that we at the Watershed Institute work to prevent from getting into our waterways, like zebra mussels and water chestnuts. So we're using art as a way to communicate about this, and in particular, fiber art. It's a collaborative project, so I've made many of these pieces, but there's lots of other people that have also participated. It's an exhibit that travels around. It's a virtual exhibit as well. You can find it through our website. So that's what we are here doing today, sharing stories about the waterways with fiber art.
all right, those are real zebra mussels in that last thing here?
They are.
So you teach-
And those are real Asian clams on Tom's necklace. These were pulled off of boats by our watershed stewards.
So do you tell people how to recognize them so they know what to look for?
We do, yes, and we hire about 110 watershed stewards every summer who work at the boat launches. So the folks that you see with the big blue vests on, who interact and educate boaters and do voluntary watercraft inspection to make sure that we're not bringing any of these things through our water. So I just happen to take these and make them into these silly necklaces, but yes, those are real zebra mussels.
Now, I know they were all imported before now, but are we now at the point where people are catching them on their boat and bringing them elsewhere? Or?
Yeah, I mean, it is certainly the biggest risk for zebra mussel and most of the invasive species that we have is that they get transported on watercraft, unfortunately.
So they can get, even though they're in Lake Champlain and they haven't been somewhere else, they can pick them up in Lake Champlain and then...
They could, yes. Unfortunately, with zebra mussel and some of the ones like it, the mussels in particular, because they have a life stage that's almost microscopic, just so small that you can't see it, and that's what can get into those live wells, the water wells, and that's, we can certainly see zebra mussels that are encrusted on a boat and take them off, but if we have those villagers that are just almost can't see with the naked eye, that can be a risk, and that's why we talk about things like cleaning your boat, drying your boat, and draining those wells so that they don't move around.
Okay, if boat owners want to learn more, what do they do?
They can take a look at our website, adkwatershed.org, or they can look at adkcleanboats.org, which will tell them a lot more about where to find all of our boat wash stations and a lot more information about invasive species. I'm sure they will see us out there this summer because we're at lots and lots of lakes.
It's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it,
Tough
right?
job, but somebody's got to do it. I think it'd be fun jobs when you're summer at a boat launch.
Okay, who you got with you here? Who's these guys here?
I have Damian Thompson, who's a student at Paul Swiss College. He's a junior, and he's working with us right now. And Tom Collins is our education outreach coordinator at the Watershed Institute.
Okay, I pointed the other way here. I'll point the mic at him.
Can tell you
Forget about
anything you want to know.
Okay, Tom Collins.
Yeah,
I've heard of you, but I'm sure you get that a lot, right?
I do, yeah. Yeah, so I help take the work of our science team and stewardship team, doing the research out on the lakes, doing the education at the boat launches, and then bring that to a community audience and high school teachers, high school students, taking that information and hopefully breaking it down so it's digestible for members of the public.
Okay, that's a very nice necklace you've got there.
Thank you.
Is it one of a kind, I hope?
It is one of one, but we also have one for hydrilla, we have curly leaf pondweed, we have water chestnut, and we have zebra mussels. So trying to take our work and bring it into new media. So yeah.
Okay. Anything you'd like to tell us? What's in these tubes here?
So we are doing an activity today, asking folks what they love most about the Adirondacks and the Lake Champlain Adirondack biosphere. So thinking of a biosphere region, and then asking folks what they love most about where they live or this region that they visit, then breaking it down into categories. So lands and forests, waters, rivers and streams, cultural resources, wildlife, and recreation, and then seeing what people value most about where they live.
So every time that somebody votes, you throw a ball in the.
That's right. Simple as that.
What happens when you overflow?
Hopefully collect our data accurately and then start over.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
Happy World Water Day.
All right. Happy World Water Day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we've moved to a huge map, and I've just met this young lady. Your name?
Megan Bartholomew.
Bartholomew?
Bartholomew.
Okay, I thought it'd be a B in there somewhere. Yeah. Okay, and this is we can't step on this map, so
You can actually.
I can. Are
Yeah.
you sure? I don't want to get in trouble here. No alarms are going to go off.
No, we haven't rigged it up yet.
I feel like a drone here.
Yeah,
flying over.
we've had some jokes about the kind of fun things you could do with the map, and one of my favorite suggestions was to make tiny dogs feel like big dogs, as they were able to jump over the entirety of Lake Champlain.
This is a huge. What's the size of this?
It is 27 feet by 35 feet,
Okay,
and we call it the giant map.
for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
And this is with the Lake Champlain Basin Program, and you're over there on the Vermont side. What's that town you guys are in?
We're in Virgin, so I'm with the Lake Champlain Maritime Museum.
Maritime. Oh, okay. Maritime Museum. Okay.
Yep. So this map was actually created with funding
From the basin.
from the Basin Program.
Too
Yep.
many Lake Champlains here. Huh?
Yeah.
It's been a few years since I've been over there to Virgins, and one of these days we'll have to head back there.
I'm a little biased, but the Maritime Museum is a pretty fun place to visit.
It is, and I know I'm talking earlier this week with Helen Nurska. She's telling me that there'll be a talk from the basin. It says basin there. That's what's messing me up.
Yeah.
The Maritime Museum regarding the Spitfire that's buried in the lake somewhere, and we're going to be talking about that. So it's a variety of things that the Maritime Museum does.
Yes, so that's actually one of the parts that's so cool about the museum is that we have so many different things. So I personally run education programs, so we have field trips, lake ecology focused ones, and Revolutionary War ones. And then also I bring the giant map to schools to do programming with kids, and we have summer camps. And then we also have a big metal arts program with blacksmithing and casting. We have our archaeology program where we have some great archaeologists doing work in Lake Champlain and conserving different shipwrecks, and then also conserving artifacts, which is a really cool process. And then we also just have our exhibits. So we have a lot of stuff going on.
And you still have that canal boat that goes around?
The Lois McClure. The Lois actually left us last year.
I thought I saw somewhere that it was the last go around.
Yeah. So she was moored at our harbor, but she has transferred over to the Canal Society of New York, and she took one farewell voyage. She would have gone from Virgins all the way down the lake, and then when she got to Whitehall,
yes,
entered
known
the
for
canal system.
known for the canal system, yes.
Yep. So then she entered the Champlain Canal and went all the way over to up the canal system in New York as well.
Okay, so headed west.
Yep.
Headed west, yeah. We had canal boats built in Champlain 150 years or so ago.
Yes.
So-
One of the ways I like to explain it to kids when we're talking about the history of Lake Champlain is that basically it was the super highway of the day before we had automobiles, that the lake would have been crowded with canal boats trucking cargo up and down.
Yeah. And, you look at the canals, the waterways is the first mode, and in the 1850s and so on, there's railroads starting to come through, but as I was driving to Plattsburgh yesterday, I said, 150 years ago, I would have to hop on a train if I wanted to go to Plattsburgh, or else take all day to get there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, versus now we get places so fast. I came from Benson this morning in Vermont, and it was about a 2-hour drive
Wow, that's still
compared to what
Yeah.
it used to be about
2 days.
150 years ago. It would have been a huge undertaking.
Okay, I got a text I got to check on, and I'm right back.
Sure. This map was made with a grant from the Lake Champlain Basin Program. So we actually have, this was the original project crew with the Lake Champlain Basin Program. Castleton University was a big contributor, helping design lesson plans and helping us figure out how we can use the map to best suit teachers and help get kids engaged in watershed science and geography, and then the Maritime Museum.
So when you go to a school, do you let the kids walk on this map?
Yes, we take this to schools,
It's
and
gotta be durable then.
it is pretty durable. It's made of like a very thick vinyl, and then it's two pieces that are glued together in the center.
Okay, so we're going to wander up. The water flows north, you know. Did you know that?
Yes, I did.
You'd said no, I would have said,
You would have been concerned.
talk to your employer.
Yeah, that's one of the questions I actually would work on with kids, is where I ask them which direction the lake flows and why they think that. And it's really interesting to see their answers, because kids' minds are just so much more open than adults a lot of the time. And it's cool where usually they'll look at the bottom of the lake in Whitehall and they'll look at the top of the lake up here and they'll look, well, it's obvious that it flows up here. This is the only part that's open still. And it's like,
Okay,
wow, good
all
job.
right.
Like, they do a great job investigating it. So I'll take it to schools. And one of the really cool things about the giant map is that it can be tailored to a lot of different lessons. So we usually use it for watershed science, to teach kids about how the watershed works, and to help encourage them to try to prevent pollution and all of that kind of thing, seeing how we're all interconnected with the waterways. But we also have different lessons. We've done Revolutionary War focused lessons, looking at where events happened on the lake and where artifacts were found. And then we also have an Abenaki place names lesson, where kids can learn about the history of Vermont before settlers were here. And really, you can do virtually anything with it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, I think, you know, if you look up here in the northern tier here, where the Richelieu is here, and you think back to 1609, well, that's where Champlain
Yeah.
strolled through, stopped there over in Islamont, but he strolled through there, and it's not that wide, so he could have been closer to the Alberg side or the Rouse's Point side. And then, you know, we hear about a lot in this area here about the Battle of Valcour, and those boats came right through there. The Battle of Plattsburgh, that's where the boats came down from above, and it just, you know, so many things happened up there that, you know, involved the different, you know, the French and Indian War, the American Revolution.
Yeah, Lake Champlain has a
1812.
really rich history. There's over 300 shipwrecks in the lake, which is just remarkable.
Yeah, and hopefully, like I said, in about a month we'll be learning more about the Spitfire and what can be happening with that, because that was
Yes, there
boat of
is.
the Philadelphia.
Yep, there is discussion of it being raised, and you're completely correct that it is a very similar to the Philadelphia, which you can see at the museum. We have a replica of the Philadelphia on our museum green that people can walk on and explore what it would have been like to be a soldier stationed on those ships, which is really pretty remarkable. When we do that a program with kids where they go on and hear some interpretation of the Philadelphia, it just kind of blows their mind that there were so many soldiers on it, when we can usually comfortably fit like 15 kids, versus there were 44 soldiers on the boat during the Revolution, I believe, which is really pretty amazing.
Just, you know, it's just incredible that
Yeah.
they all had their job to do, and you know,
Yeah, it's amazing that they weren't tripping over each other, to be honest.
They had to be. They had to be. You can only synchronize so much.
Yeah.
So this is a great event. So you do get grants through the Lake Champlain Basin then?
Yes, yeah, we do get grants from the Lake Champlain Basin Program. They've been very generous. We've had some great grants from them in the past, and we currently have another grant from them that's keeping admission free at the museum for this summer.
Oh,
So that's
wow.
helping fund our summer camps, and because we have a pay what you can system, so any family can send their child to summer camp,
Wow.
and then free admission into the museum. So that's great to be able to keep it accessible for everyone.
So now people are going to want to know, when are you open?
We open, I believe, May 21st. It's that Saturday.
Okay, and you're open 7 days a week, or?
Yes, 7 days a week.
Okay, and obviously Lake Champlain Maritime Museum has a website, so you can find out more details.
Yep, absolutely.
For us on the New York side, best place to cross is the Crown Point Bridge.
Yes. Yep, that's the route I took this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah, and it's a great place to come visit. We have a lot of fun stuff going on in the summer.
Really.
And it's nice that it's mostly outside, too. So
Yeah.
we're right on the waterfront, so you can go down and look at the shoreline.
Yeah, and it's not that far from the bridge. How many miles did you say it's from the Crown Point Bridge?
Mm-hmm.
How many miles did you say?
I think it's about 10.
10
It's
miles,
not
yeah.
far at all.
Yeah, right. So, easy to find, easy to access.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like us to tell us? Even stuff that Sue didn't want you to tell us?
I don't think there's anything Sue wouldn't want me to tell you. Yeah, just we're excited to be here and to be able to bring the giant map over to New York. We bring it all over the place in Vermont and are trying to find more schools in New York that want to take it to do
right.
educational programming.
So, all right, any school out there, if you want this huge map in your gymnasium, I imagine it's usually in a gymnasium.
Yes, yeah. We just recently bought a second map with the exact same with EPA grant funding. So this is actually the EPA bought one, and our LCBP one, we've put grommets in it so that we can use it outside, so it can be staked down.
Oh, wow.
So because some schools don't have the space to be able to have it indoors.
Right. So they can contact the museum and find out how to get it at their school.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, we move right along to the flowing water here. Who are we talking to?
Hi, my name is Peter Hager. I'm the district manager of the Clinton County Soil and Water District.
Now, I started off talking to a Sue Hager. You know,
That would be my wife.
that would be.
Yeah,
And she was telling you what to say here. I noticed.
pretty much.
She's a lot like my wife. She tells me what to do and where to go. But today you're here
Yep.
working with her, right?
Yes. So this, I'm here representing the Soil and Water District. We've got what's called a stream table, which shows how water flows through the environment, and kids get to practice modifying it and seeing what happens. And it shows the importance of designing around what the natural environment is going to do. Water is going to carve its way through in places where you might not want it to go.
You'll
So
always take the easiest path.
it's gonna flow downhill at the easiest pass, and it's not gonna go in a straight line. And so we're showing these kids how it works. And so what we try to encourage when in planning of roads and building is to make sure that you're working in harmony with nature and not trying to change it so much that it's gonna fight you.
And sometimes it chooses a brand new path it's never chosen before.
Exactly. So we got to be careful not to affect it that much, because otherwise that's what causes flooding and causes people to have their houses washed away, roads washed out. So proper sizing of culverts is important so that water doesn't overflow the road and wash the roads out. So it's we seem to be getting more rain and more rainfalls, and so it's very important to think about all those things.
And there's two sides to every culvert, because you got the guy who's on the side where it's washing through initially, so he wants a big culvert, and the guy on the other side doesn't want a big culvert because he wants it to go slow across his.
Right, but the culvert does not affect the amount of water coming downhill.
That's right. That's what I try to
So
tell people.
if the culvert is too small, it'll flood the uphill guy,
Then
and
go over
it'll
the
wash,
road.
and then it'll wash out the bottom guy. So you really want a properly sized culvert so that it doesn't restrict the water flow, and the water can flow naturally down the stream channel, and not flood and wash out either of them.
Yeah,
So
but sooner or later somebody will be at the tail end of that, and
right.
will be impacted. But
And it just takes one big storm, and all of a sudden, a lot of people get impacted in a bad way. So the Soil and Water District tries to assist landowners, farmers, and municipalities with properly designing practices that protect the environment, reduce stream flooding and stream flows, and reduce pollution and a lot of other aspects of the environment.
yeah, because sometimes you're trying to solve one problem and you don't want to create a brand new one, right?
Correct. Right. There's always a equal, and as you see with the kids here putting in the obstacles and the things around the stream, they don't know what's going to happen next.
I don't think these two kids are ever going to leave here. You
No,
got 'em for the day.
they do enjoy playing in the environment.
Now that's a very white soil. I've never seen soil that looked quite like that.
Right. Well, it's not dirt, fortunately. It's small colored plastic particles, which allows you can see the sediment flowing down the stream. So it's a really good way of showing kids and adults how sediment is carried downstreams.
Yep. And as we all know, just got done with the Lake Champlain Maritime Museum, looking at that huge map. Downstream, as far as Lake Champlain goes, is north.
Right. So almost everything in Clinton County flows to Lake Champlain. So we're all trying to work, to prevent soil and water pollution from getting into Lake Champlain, which a lot of people still use as drinking water, fishing, recreation. It's very important to everyone.
Yeah. In fact, Rouse's Point just got awarded a $2 million grant to improve their water system in the village of Rouse's Point.
Because I think they're still drinking out of the lake, right?
Yeah. Right.
And they're at the very top of the lake, which means everything that goes in the lake is passing by Rouse's Point.
Flowing toward them.
So yeah, we work with farmers to help reduce their impact on the environment. Municipalities to do the same. So, but helping kids understand it when they're young is going to help to build a whole new generation of environmentalists.
We've got some future scientists right here, Pete.
Yes, we do.
Anything else?
That's it.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Sue said there's some casting going on here, so I wanted to be in the play, so I came over. But it's not the casting I'm thinking of here. You're not casting for a play, are you?
No, I'm not casting for a play. We're casting for fish, common fish in Lake Champlain.
And your name?
My name is Aude Locher. I work for Lake Champlain Sea Grant.
Okay. And so we're casting for fish here. And what are we doing this for?
We're doing this to teach kids about what kind of fish are in Lake Champlain. So it's a great opportunity for them. So once they catch the fish, at the bottom of this plastic fish, there are pictures of actual fish from Lake Champlain. And so once they have a fish, they have to tell us which species it is. So they get familiar with the different species that live in the lake.
Okay, and Sue was telling me off camera that they also learn when the fishing seasons are, and they can, at a more advanced level here, they can be told when you can keep that fish and when you can't, and the different sizes, if it's too small or whatever.
Yeah, so when they ask about these questions, we tell them, but we keep it as as simple as possible.
If you make it too complicated, they're not going to learn anything.
Yeah. No, if they get familiar with the names of the different species, that's important to us.
Okay, it's Lent right now, and I'm eating a lot of perch. Are they catching much perch today?
Yes, they are actually. They are catching perch. They are catching bass. They are catching pumpkin seed.
Okay, are there? I'm not a fisherman, so I've never worried about these things. But are there fish that you can catch all year round? Like perch? Is perch available all year round?
No, you always. I'm not quite sure, but there's I'm not quite sure for this one, but there's always a time where they are.
Trout fishing in the season. And so on,
yeah.
Okay. So this is a Sea Grant. What is Sea Grant?
Sea Grant is a partnership between SUNY Plattsburgh and the University of Vermont, and we teach, we educate the communities about how to keep Lake Champlain clean and healthy.
Okay, and this is just one way to do it?
It's one way to do it. There are plenty of ways we're doing it, yeah.
All right. Anything else you'd like to tell us?
Come play with us.
Okay. Come grab a pole. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm reading stuff in French here. I don't know why, but here I am.
Well,
what's your name?
It's Vic Putman.
All right, that's what you told me off camera too, so I'm going to go with Vic Putman then.
Vic Putman's a good start,
All right.
Yeah.
Who are you with?
This is our Boquet River Association brass display. Obviously, we represent the Boquet River in Essex County.
Okay, before we get too far here,
Yeah.
I cover a lot of high school sports, and I always say Boquet. Well, we got so many people that want to say Boquet.
Yes.
Do you correct them, or?
No, as long as they don't say bouquet. Because Boquet, or Boquet, used to be a guide in the 1600s.
That's the name? Boquet was the guide?
Boquet, yeah. the same spelling as the Boquet River.
Okay.
So he was a guide and led the missionaries to indoctrinate the Indians. Okay, so they existed in the 1600s. Boquet was actually employed by the French to help as a missionary with the Indians. But then there was another guy called Bouquet who came in the late 1600s, and he was a mercenary that was hired by the Swiss. And his claim to fame was that he gave the Indians blankets, but they were contaminated with smallpox, and that resulted in the death of many Indians.
Wow.
So that is why saying bouquet instead of bouquet is
Very important. Very important.
yes. So
Okay.
a lot of maps will still have bouquet.
Oh, really?
And yes, we've been on a mission, like a missionary, to change it.
Yeah, well, it's amazing. You come across old maps that are
Yep.
wrong, you know?
Yep, that's right.
They're old.
Yep.
All right.
Hi.
How you doing? Okay, so what are we doing here today, Vic?
Well, this is our Enviroscape,
Uh-huh.
which shows what happens to pollution in the environment. We use food dye as a pollutant, and we like to have children make rain on top of that pollution, the food dye, and you can see where it washes away.
It goes
And
into the water streams and so on.
the stream and the lake, yep. And there are also some buffer strips there that help keep the rain from entering the river or the lake.
So if you planted trees or something,
Yep.
that type of thing. It would,
Yep. So that's what we're doing. April 26th, 27th, we're doing a 1,000 tree planting with the Arbor Day Foundation
oh, okay.
in town of Westport, right along the river.
Right on the- yeah. And then
Yeah.
there's
Yep.
a lake there in Westport too, you know. Did you know that?
Yes.
Okay.
But the Boquet doesn't flow into the lake
It
until it hits Willsboro.
Really? Okay.
Yep.
So it flows through Westport, ends up towards Willsboro. And,
That's right. Yep. It kind of flows northeast.
okay.
But yep.
So you're putting the trees along the river.
Yep. Well, you can see like one of our bad boy streams is Beaver Brook. And this is what Beaver Brook looked like in December. You can see that here's the Boquet and here's Beaver Brook going into it. And you can see quite the
Difference in the color.
difference. Yeah, there's a lot of mud coming out of Beaver Brook. This is Anger Hill Road. Right near this, it's just the other side of this. You can see the road is closed and inundated. So, yeah, it's been a very wet season last year, and actually it was comparable this past weekend where we had a lot of rain again. But yeah, this is our. Whoa! Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. You've lost your job. You're
Everything's
fired.
fine.
You're fired now.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
No harm, no foul.
No harm. Okay, so this is the ups and downs here, this little chart here. The graph.
This is the flow of the river
Yeah.
from the river gauge. You can see the spikes every time it went way over. This is the worst we had last year was 12,000 feet per second.
So what are you going to do about that mud there coming out of Beaver Brook?
Well, we have to do like what we have on the Enviroscape and plant more buffers. It's a lot of ag land and just bad soils. There's a lot of sandy soils and clay soils mixed together, so the clay will
Does this
wash
mud
down.
end up settling in the bottom and
Yep,
create problems in the Boquet River upstream and so on?
that's exactly right. It flows into Lake Champlain, and Both Essex and Willsboro use Lake Champlain as a drinking water source. So you get plumes like this entering Lake Champlain, and that, of course, affects the drinking water supplies. So that's why it's important to have buffer strips, do a lot of planting, whether it's trees or shrubs or grass, making sure that the mud and soil actually stays where we can use it to grow crops.
There's places we want that soil, and it's not.
That's right.
Not the rivers.
Exactly right. Yep.
Okay. Appreciate you chatting with us.
Yeah. The other thing is salmon. You know, the Boquete is the only river that has naturally reproducing salmon, where the salmon don't require a ride upstream. In New York, it's the only stream where they're actually starting to reproduce naturally.
I don't know if we've got any salmon in Clinton County right now.
Well, you have Imperial Dam at the mouth, near the mouth of the Saranac, and that's preventing salmon from getting further to their spawning area. But the state is going to build a fish ladder on Imperial. It's actually going to start later this summer and be finished, I think, in 2026. So there's also a fish ladder upstream of Imperial that hasn't been used in 14 years because it hasn't. First, they have to get up Imperial.
They got to get up there
before they get to Treadwell Mills. Yep. So all of our projects involve partners, you know, and we partner with Trout Unlimited, which is the tree plantings that we're doing in next month. U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, they come and help. On the other side, we have pictures of the Willsboro Dam that we took out.
We'll wander for the heck of it. Oh, whatever sign was there. There we go. Yeah. And the Willsboro Dam. Okay.
Yeah. Here was the dam before it was taken out, and here's what it looks like now. So,
okay, so water flows.
Yep. And this is the Atlantic salmon. They were tracking salmon there. We also, this was the fish ladder in Willsboro that didn't work very well. That was also taken out. But now the salmon can freely move up the river when there's enough rain.
Right, have enough water.
Yeah, that's the other problem.
Yeah.
You know.
It seems like there's either not enough or too much.
Yep, that's true.
Medium.
It is. So yeah, we promote access to the river. Of course, we have fishing platforms there. Fishermen or fishers, I guess is the proper terminology now, where fishers can park and access the river to go fishing or boating. There's a lot of boaters. That's a great place to kayak and canoe from Willsboro down to the mouth of the river. It's very popular, very natural, flowing, very good for bass fishing too, but I didn't say that. But it's a fact.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thanks for chatting with us, Vic.
Sure.
Keep up
Thank you.
the good work.
Thank you.
Okay, we were talking about the importance of water, and we're going to go back a few years to talk about the importance of water, and we're talking to
Jackie Madison.
And Jackie, you are here representing who?
The North Country Underground Railroad Historical Association, and we actually have the North Star Underground Railroad Museum that talks about freedom seekers, especially the formerly enslaved individuals that ran away to get their freedom.
And it's located not too far from Au Sable Chasm, is it?
It's located right next to Au Sable Chasm.
Yeah, I was there when Don Papson kicked that off. You know?
And many may be thinking how water really connects to the Underground Railroad, and actually water was a key feature for freedom seekers. If you were being chased by the bloodhounds, where could you get away from their smell or their scent? And that was to go into the water and they could no longer follow you. In addition, a lot of African Americans, when they were running away, ships were their means of getting around, boats, and that was their means of moving from one place to another place long distance. To travel overnight by foot, it would take you about 20 miles, and that's not very far, but if you could get onto a boat that ran 24 hours, you could travel 200 miles. So you could really get some distance away. In addition to a means of travel with boats, you could also, if you were a male, maybe stop in some whaling town like New Bedford or Boston and get a job on a whaling ship. And you were truly free then because you would be out to sea for 2 to 3 years. And in fact, Anthony Allen, who was enslaved because his mother was a slave but his father was free, actually ran away and went to Boston and got on a whaling ship and ended up in Hawaii. He was one of the first African Americans there, and he not only got his freedom, but he became quite prosperous in Hawaii.
Okay. Well, we're going to focus today on the Lake Champlain waterway.
Yes, we are.
And I know in Rouse's Point up in Sportsman's Pier, there's a marker there.
There is a marker because it was the importance that was many people came through. One individual that we talked about that made her way from Texas to Rouse's Point was Lavinia Bell. And Lavinia Bell made it into that area and was able to get over into Canada. Now, she took a train, unfortunately, but there were others that took ferries across from one place to the next and came through this region along the Lake Champlain area. We talk about a Captain Richard Sherman, who was the captain of the boat Burlington. He often hid slaves on his ship to get them to freedom.
So I imagine he was taking a big chance by doing that.
He was taking a big chance because especially in the 1850s, that Fugitive Slave Act required every man, woman, and child to report a runaway, or you could end up in jail and be fined $1,000.
I'm going to kick myself when I get to church tonight because right in front of St. Mary's Church there's a marker there too mentioning a guy in Champlain, and his name isn't popping in my head. Maybe it'll pop in yours.
No, it's not popping in mine either at this point. I mean, we had quite a number. This was really an area for people to get into and out of Canada. And so this was really sort of prime runway because the Lake Champlain continued into the Canadian area.
Right, into the Richelieu and so on.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so that's why you're here. And of course, again, your museum is located right next to Sable Chasm, so it's very close to the lake.
Very close to the lake, and you can probably go down and take a look at it from there, from where we're at, if you're interested. But yeah, water was crucial. It was not only a means of escape for them, but for some, it was also an opportunity to have their true freedom and to have a job.
Okay, and your museum, when's that open?
Our museum open Memorial Weekend, and we're open until Columbus Day.
Every day?
No, we're open 3 days a week. Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays.
Okay. Through Columbus Day.
Yes, but what I will put a pitch in for is that we could open more if we could get more docents. So if you're a docent, have aspirations of being a docent, contact us at ugr@frontier.com. You'll have a great experience, and I actually do have a young lady who is a docent at our museum, Tegan, to tell you a little bit more about it.
Oh, get over here, Tegan. Come on closer here. You can.
There we go.
There we go.
So yeah, I am a docent at the museum. I did a lot of work over the past summer. I've also been an intern at the museum for about 2 years now. So this is my 4th time doing it, and the first 3 times I helped actually recreate one of the films that we have in the museum. So, yeah.
You're there how often during the summer?
Because I also work, I'm only there about 2 days per week, usually Fridays and Saturdays.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got to have a job that pays, right?
Yeah. But it's absolutely fun to work with them, to volunteer there. I get to meet so many amazing people and get so many awesome experiences with it as well.
So if other people want to become a docent or just a volunteer, you recommend them to?
Oh, absolutely. This has been a life-changing experience for me. When I first started the internship and working with them, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my degree. And this experience has really made me want to go into working at a museum in some, maybe like an archival position or maybe a tour guide position as well.
Okay. So they can contact the website to find out more?
Yep.
Which is what?
North Country Underground Railroad Historical Association. To contact our website, contact northcountryundergroundrailroad.com.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Calvin.
All right. Take care. All right. I've seen these people before here, but we'll let them introduce themselves.
Yes, I'm Helen Nurska, Director of the Clinton County Historical Association.
I haven't seen her since Tuesday.
And Dick Soper, I am a board member and a volunteer at the museum.
And a transportation expert, right?
Well, hopefully, after 12 years at that other museum we had, I learned a little bit.
All right, and what are you guys doing here? A Tale of Gunboats. You're selling books?
Well, we're talking. We have a video that was put together by a company that a husband and wife team, Gary and Ellen Lafayette, who worked with the Maritime Museum on the Valcourt Bay or the Arnold's Bay Research Project and a lot of research projects. I shouldn't get too specific, but anyway, he put together this for us for this mall, for the mall, all about Clinton County. So you'll see Chazy boats in there, and you'll see Champlain boats, a canal boat, and you'll see the Spitfire, which is our current project. Boat of interest, absolutely. It's a wonderful artifact that's sitting right down there, in the lake. Yep.
And we'll learn more about that in the coming month or so.
That's right. Art Cohen's coming on April 25th to the chapel at 6:30, and we'll be promoting that. They'll see it in the newspaper. They'll also see it on our Facebook page.
Well, what happens if you get an overflow crowd? That chapel can only hold so many people.
Only 150, yeah. So that's okay.
Get there early.
Yes, yes. This will be a wonderful story. It's going to be an update on what's happened with the Spitfire, because he was the co-founder of the Maritime Museum and very definitely part of this project that discovered the Spitfire and can tell us where we stand now. So looking forward to that myself.
So these folks keeping you busy, Dick?
Yes, sir.
Transportation Museum.
This right here is a bit of a video about the removal of the dams along the Saranac River, the Friedenberg Falls Dam and the Lozier Power Plant Dam. It was originally called Indian Rapids, and with a lot of work, they went in and they removed all the parts of the dam. Excuse me, and we now have rapids where there were no rapids for over 120 years.
You think they could get a permit to do this day and age?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, it was apparently there were quite a few of these big generators they had. They were pretty popular. When they started digging up, they found them, and they found out they were pretty powerful. They were almost 1,000 horsepower.
Wow.
And they produced a lot of power for Plattsburgh, not only for Lozier, but for the city too. And so now we got salmon coming up the lake, up the river.
Yeah. Soon, coming soon.
It's coming soon, yeah.
Coming soon. I was just talking to the guys at Bouquet River there, and they said salmon will be here soon.
Well, and there's a display there all about the salmon.
Right behind you there.
Right behind you, yeah. So it'll be interesting to see if they come back. you know, like they did in 1776, where they just go down and they just shovel the salmon into a wheelbarrow. And,
Well, wait a few years before we do that. You know. But on the Clinton County seal, there is a salmon.
There
on it.
is, absolutely.
So we got to get some salmon to make it accurate.
Yeah, that's one of the trick questions when you're new to Clinton County. What's a salmon doing?
What's that fish there?
And we're very proud of that. Yeah.
It's not a perch, it's a salmon. All right, so is this display, this thing available, or you give talks, or what?
This is what we give talks on. Yeah,
Right,
the-
so
we.
pay attention to those talks. And
Yeah, you got aerial views of the Friedenberg Falls. Most people don't realize when you go along the Northway, if you're heading north or south, either way, both sides you had huge dams there, and the Lozier Dam was really blocking things up. Most of Friedenberg Falls is gone, but there were still pieces left there, so they went in. And but the Lozier Dam, there's still parts of it on the west side. You can still see where it was anyway, and it's been all landscape. New trees have been planted. They did a beautiful job there. So, and we have lots of pictures that were taken before the thing went down. We also have some aerial shots of the area of what it looked like before and what it looks like now. Yep.
all right, thank you both. Keep up the good work. I'm going to move next door here and talk to these feisty people. 250 years of freedom. And this guy jumped right up when he saw the camera. He's been jumping up in front of cameras ever since I first met him. What's your name, young man?
John Rock.
John Rock, and Jerry's running away.
Yeah.
He just pushed you right out of the way, Jerry.
Well, I was going to tell you about our design of our flag, how for the 250th anniversary. It's we got our Patriot up here in the corner, which represents the 1776 with the Revolutionary War, and then we go right on up to our past and present for our modern day soldiers. All gave some and some gave all. This is and then our flag is our 250 years of America's freedom that we're coming up onto in 2026. So this was the best way that we could represent covering 250 years without a major overhauled document and a lot of. And the other one on the other side is a little bit different design, but both of them represent our 250th anniversary.
Which is coming soon here in 2024.
Yes. Yeah, and that's what we're doing, Jerry and I.
Jerry Favreau?
Yes, Jerry Favreau and the rest of our steering committee. We are steering groups to help us organize different events to put on throughout at Clinton County. And it's the entire county from the northern border all the way right down to our southern, right in Keysville, our southern border. So what we're looking for are groups to represent any part of America's growth from 17, if you have history from the beginning of the American Revolution, which we represent with the Battle of Valcour. That's our theme. Right here's on our Battle of Valcour with Benedict Arnold right here. And then going around up to the War of 1812 with Commodore McDonough. And we're not only representing the military part and the growth of this, but we're also representing the settlements and stuff. So we would like groups to form and contact us down into the Clinton County Museum, Historical Museum, about anything that their town can contribute on 2026.
Now we have a Clinton County Historical Association, and we have a Clinton County historian. So which one are you talking about?
No, our group is a steering committee.
Right.
What we're doing.
You want them to contact would be the
Yes.
Historical Association or the.
Yes, the Historical Association. Okay. Yes, so that we can, because we're going to kind of put programs together throughout 2026, from July 4th right on through October 11th, when Benedict Arnold fought the Battle of Valcour, and this was the birth of our United States Navy. This was one of the first naval intercoastal waterway battles. And the Navy took off from then after this battle. So we've got a lot to celebrate up here in this part of the country as far as the freedoms and the births that we still live under today.
Oh, okay. Being a Northern Tier person, and Jerry used to be a Northern Tier person. So
yes.
She's very much aware of this.
and also, yes, because there's a lot of history right out around Point of Fur.
Yes, Point of Fur with Rogers Rangers, but
yeah.
You know, as I mentioned earlier in this video I'm doing here, 1609, if you look out the shores of Rouse's Point, and on July 4th, a fellow named Samuel D. Champlain came through there.
Yes, and
then all these boats that went to the Battle of Valcour and the Battle of Plattsburgh all sailed through by Rouse's Point. So.
and then we also have up in that area in 1775, General Richard Montgomery led a brigade up through the lake, up the Richelieu River, captured Montreal, and then went on up through to Quebec City, where him and Benedict Arnold attacked, and they tried to, before the Revolutionary War, where they tried to drive the British back over to England and off the North American continent. And that's where Richard Montgomery lost his life up there in an attack on Quebec City with him and Benedict Arnold. So there is a lot of history. Yep, you're right on that, Calvin, in the Northern Tier. And these are the stories that we've got to tell and that are going to be told or put out in some that we would like, help on and stuff by different groups. Yes. Yep.
Yeah, because I've always felt that the history, isn't just where the battle was fought, it's how it got there in the first place.
No.
And every one of those troops in the Battle of Plattsburgh that were on land all camped in Champlain.
And came down through Rouse's Point in those areas.
And
because one thing that a lot of people don't realize, that the Richelieu River and Lake Champlain were the only ways of moving equipment, supplies, men, living goods, cattle, you name it, anything to survive. The lake was one of the main thoroughfares because there were no trails then that were built. There were some along the shores, but there were none up through the mountains because you had the Green Mountains of Vermont on the Vermont side, and then you had the Adirondacks on this side, and they were too rugged to actually construct trails in the early period of time. So they traveled by water all the way down to the end of the lake, and then they went overland for a short period of time, and then took the Hudson River all the way down to New York City. So that's how our goods and people survived.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah, so that's how the Canadians got here, and not the Canadians, but the British coming through Canada.
Yes,
got
yes.
Here through that water, and
yep.
So it's a lot of history to be told, and we only got 2 years to get it organized, so you better get busy.
Year and 3/4 now. We're into March, Calvin. Yes, it is, and we are on the short end of the stick as far as that goes, and that's why we'd like to have anyone participate of any groups, and we don't care if they're school groups, town groups. In fact, we're encouraging all the towns in Clinton County to participate in this and give us some little piece of history. And like I said, it doesn't have to pertain to military. We also are covering history of the settlers' lives.
Yeah.
Yes, and people who have history on the indigenous people that lived around here and how they helped the settlers and things like that. This is all the story of 250 years.
So, how do they contact you?
Contact Jerry at Clinton County Historical Association, and if they would, we're the steering committee. We're not the doing committee. We're just a steering committee to get it organized.
You're not doing any work, John. Typical John here. I never saw him lift a finger.
I'm still building the Battlefield Memorial Gateway, Calvin. So, but yes, no, and we are going to be doing some exhibits and stuff, but we would like groups to just give us, and participate with the information that they do have. And like you said, the local town historians, we would like them to get involved also.
Yeah, so don't
Yes.
just sit back and say, why aren't they doing us?
Yes.
You make that move and
Yes.
contact these guys and see.
And we need the help.
Yeah, sure.
You know.
Yeah, you can't be expected to know everything about.
Well, and not only that.
Jerry knows a lot, but even Jerry doesn't know everything.
But this is such a huge undertaking. I mean, we're talking 250 years,
Sure.
and there are things in towns and stuff around here that they need to, the history of it does deserve their credit,
Sure.
and should be let out to the public and known. It's like these battles. These battles right here were some of the most important battles of the birth of the country, and still to the freedoms that we live under to today. And we've supplied veterans to every single war since the Battle of Valcour right here. And these were just ordinary settlers then. They didn't have any recruiting programs or anything else back in those days. You just went, if you are a true patriot and you believed in rebelling and breaking away from England, then you went and joined one of the forces that were out there. This here with Benedict Arnold was the Navy. They had to create a whole new naval force. And the others were volunteers and patriotic people that marched along and went up to Montreal and Quebec City and marched with Arnold and General Montgomery. There's a huge story to be told here.
Yeah, and like you said, it's not just the Revolutionary War. We mentioned Point of Fair, that was in 1760. So
yes,
French and Indian War.
Yes, that was before the Stamp Act. Yeah. Point of Fair was, yes, and not only that, but also we have the history of Plattsburgh Air Force Base that was here from 1954 to 1995. I mean, there is just and this is one of the only bases here that has housed all 4 branches of the military. A lot of people don't know this about Plattsburgh Air Force Base, but in 44. They graduated 3 classes out of there. They were Navy PT boat lieutenants that trained right here on Lake Champlain. And Jerry has the yearbook down there to the museum of the 3 classes that has graduated. So the Navy has been here as well as the Marines and the Army.
And of course the Plattsburgh idea before World War I, that's where ROTC was created right here in Plattsburgh.
And created, part of the old 26th Infantry was up here. So. Yes, so
you start digging, there's a whole lot to be told.
There is.
Well, like you said, you're not just looking for military, you're looking for people who settled this land and so on. So you want that too.
Yes. There's a lot of families that still live here that had connections of settling the area. And that's also, yes, like you said, Calvin, that it's also important to tie this whole great big picture together.
All right, so don't sit back and complain. Just get out there and call Jerry and tell her you'll raise your hand and say, I want to help.
And thank you very much, Calvin, for helping us get the message out.
Should we let her get a word in?
Yes.
Okay, just one word. What's your word?
Just one word? So I just want to say that Clinton County Historical is the lead because we are the County Historical Society. So we are the lead on America 250, working with a whole bunch of other people. And I've already reached out to Rouse's Point to be, so that in 2026 that the American Revolution will be the theme of their parade. So we've already started reaching out to a lot of different organizations and stuff. This guy right here, we're going to make sure that people understand he was a hero. Benedict Arnold, this is Benedict Arnold, always known as a bad guy, a traitor. When he was here, he was a hero. If it hadn't been for him and his little ragtag bunch of Navy men that he put together, Saratoga could have been very different, and our way our country started could have been very different. So we want to make sure he wasn't always a bad guy. He was a good guy. And I don't know anything about him, but if you look into why he became a traitor, maybe, I don't want to say you can understand, but maybe he wasn't treated quite right. So we put together this little brochure. It's just a very preliminary. It's got a few things that we know are going to happen, and as we move along, people will see more and more on TV and in the papers and Facebook, and so, yeah. So, and we expect you to be there in 2026.
Good Lord of willing.
I'll be there if you will. And John.
John will be there. We know that. He's the youngster in this group.
Thank you, Calvin.
Thank you. All right, we have another person with the Lake Champlain Basin Program. It's Colleen Hickey. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And what's your association with this group?
Yeah, so Calvin, I've been with the Basin Program for 30 years, and I'm the Education and Outreach Coordinator. So we work with the media, we train teachers about Lake Champlain issues with our teaching partners, several of whom you interviewed today. And we offer school programs and community programs wherever we can.
Okay, and Sue was saying this organization was formed in the 1990s, so you
That's
got
right.
there very early, didn't you?
I was here on day one. I started working. Yeah, I started working for the EPA, and that was day one for me. and I transferred to the Basin program just a year and a half later. So I was working in the office.
The founding mother.
Ooh, that makes me sound really old.
Okay, and what's going on at this table here?
So
invasive species.
That's right. Aquatic invasive species are a hot topic for Lake Champlain and all of the surrounding waterways. We have species in Champlain that we don't want to travel to other water bodies. And for example, the St. Lawrence and the Hudson have species that we don't want. So it's very much a cooperative process. One of the ways we do outreach is through our boat launch stewards in the summer. We have about 16 to 20 of them every year, but we partner with Paul Smith College, who has well over 100, usually 150 or more. So they do a lot of work on the inland lakes in New York, in the Adirondacks, as well as on Champlain now. But we share messaging, we do the same training, we carry the same tune wherever we go, so that the messaging is consistent.
So if your boat never goes anywhere other than Lake Champlain, you're not part of the problem then, probably.
Right. If you're dockside at your camp, you're probably not part of the problem. But if you pick up and go to Connecticut or Winnipesaukee for the weekend, we want you to be aware of what your responsibilities to the environment are. And we ask you to do voluntary inspections on your own gear. If you're coming off of Champlain from another lake or traveling to another lake, you can also do a hot water wash at certain boat launches as well. We have 4 to 6 on Champlain, depending on which year we're in, and it's like a free boat wash for your boat before you put it on wheels and travel elsewhere.
So obviously you can't do this over the water because you don't want to wash these varmints into
correct.
the water. You're going to do it on land?
That's correct. Yeah, special equipment, and the boat launch stewards are all trained, so all you have to do is drive up and they'll take care of you when you're leaving the launch.
And it's free?
It is free. It's paid for, usually in our case, through government funds to make sure we have that equipment in place. And both the states of New York and Vermont are on board with this concept too, and it's quite popular with boaters.
So somebody pulling up here, they get the same treatment offered to them. What happens if they say no?
Well, that's up to them, but we just encourage them to know about the importance of not transmitting any nuisance species anywhere. So, and that goes, for example, one of our newest species we're on the lookout for is the round goby. They haven't been found in Lake Champlain yet, and we don't want them here. We have seen scientific video where the round goby will draw the male bass off its nest during nesting season and can consume all the eggs because they come right in as a group of gobies, and they will consume those eggs within about 16 seconds or so.
16 seconds?
Yeah, so, you know, if people think that bringing round gobies in is good for bass fishing because the bass will eat it, there's definitely a second side that you want to be on the lookout for, especially since we're one of the top bass fisheries in the country.
So that does bring up another point, all these fishing derbies we have. So I would assume those boats are looked over quite closely because they definitely get around.
They are, and I think most of the fishermen who run or organizations who run the angling tournaments are very much aware of what sort of preventions need to take place in order to keep our lake and other lakes healthy.
Yeah, because it's in their best interest to do this.
Yes.
The last thing you want is to have your event prevent future events.
Yeah, and for any of your younger listeners, we hire new stewards every summer. So we're always looking for new stewards starting in January or February, and we're still continuing with the interview process. Lauren Janess is one of the 2 people who actually run our program, and Lauren's been very busy with doing her interviews. So, great.
So she interviews these potential stewards?
Yes, she does. She does.
All right. There's a big raindrop coming through here. So if I showed up and said I want to be a steward, what's the first thing you'd ask me?
What's your name?
Okay, then what?
I would give you my contact information in order to sign up and be connected.
Okay, but I want to know what a steward's going to do and where I'm going to be.
Yeah, so we work in partnership with Paul Smith College Adirondack Watershed Institute, the states of Vermont and New York, and organizations across the entire Northeast to have a comprehensive boat launch steward program starting Memorial Day weekend through Labor Day, ideally. We have staff out 40 hours a week, including the weekends, doing voluntary inspections of boats, launching and retrieving on Lake Champlain. So we share our clean, drain, dry message and offer, towels to people so they can dry their boats. And then we also have high pressure hot water boat wash stations so people can get decontaminated if they're moving around to different water bodies.
Okay, so this is only for boat launches. Obviously, we have a lot of marinas.
Yep.
So you work with them to make sure they're informed, and because people are going to pull up from Long Island and pull into Rouse's Point with a boat, and they end up going to Shazy to get in the boat launch.
Yep, of course. Yeah, we partner with marinas too, and we make a priority of any boat that's not always in Lake Champlain, but it's the boats that are coming in and out. So a lot of times the marina boats are there all summer. What we really find if they don't have a comprehensive clean at the end of the season is the zebra mussels sitting in under the motor and then in the trailer. So a lot of pontoon boats especially, we see zebra mussels like Memorial Day weekend dried from the year before. So that's something to definitely keep an eye on. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the marinas are basically pretty cooperative because they want to stay in business too, so they want a good clean lake.
Yes, exactly.
All right, so if somebody wants to become a steward, how do they contact you?
They should go to lcbp.org and contact someone on our staff page or call our phone number listed at the bottom of the web page. But lcbp.org, Lake Champlain Basin Program.
Okay, does your website also give photos and stuff to show people what to look for if they're doing this on their own?
Yes, we have online versions of many of the materials that you see, and most specifically this comprehensive invasive species guide. We just did the last update in 2022, and so it's plants, animals, fish, crustacean that you would see in Lake Champlain, and if you pick it up, you can tell if it's in Lake Champlain if this is red. It's here, it's fishhook water flea. This is the fishhook water flea in real life. So yeah, we recommend getting this guide, but if you have a specific interest in picking up one of the smaller watch cards and keeping it in your boat or in your wallet, there's contact information and instructions about what to do if you found it.
Okay,
so
it looks like a piece of lint.
I know.
Easily be overlooked.
Yeah, so once the temperature of the lake hits a certain level, it's usually 4th of July weekend when it's the busiest, but around then these start to become really prevalent, and one by itself is not very much, but thousands of them get together. The hook part of their tail kind of latches onto a fishing line and then to each other, and so if when they are in boom, every boat coming out of the water with a downrigger fishing at a certain depth on Lake Champlain will have these coming up on their fishing line, and so we recommend cutting the fishing line or soaking it in very hot water for at least 2 minutes, because hot water is what kills these guys, and so that's why we also recommend our complimentary boat washes with the high pressure hot water. Motor flushes are especially important for preventing these.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I certainly couldn't end this day without visiting the Clinton County Health Department. And who am I talking to?
I'm Rachel Pierce.
And Rachel, what's the health department doing here?
We're here to promote the Healthy Neighborhoods program and our free well sampling program. The Healthy Neighborhoods program is a program where we come to your home and we do a quick survey with you, and then we can give you products like smoke detectors, fire extinguishers, carbon monoxide detectors, child safety products. It's all free to the Clinton County residents. And then the free well sampling program, we do well sampling for E. coli and total coliform to make sure your water is okay. And we also have some information here about ticks and rabies as well.
Oh, so you cover a variety. But
lots of different things going on here today.
We're talking about water specifically today, so you show up at my place and I find out I got something in my water. You're going to close up my well?
No, but we'll give you information on how to disinfect your well, and we can provide information for like shocking your well and different things to help get it cleaned up so that it's safe for drinking.
Okay, so you'll work with the
Yes,
homeowner.
we'll work with the homeowners. Not here to shut anybody down.
Take them away in cuffs.
No,
no.
nothing like that.
Okay. Okay, so if people want to learn more about what the health department offers along these lines, what should they do?
They can go to the Clinton County Health Department's website at clintoncountyhealth.org.
You weren't quite sure there.
I had to think about it. Actually, I might be wrong. It's clintonhealth.org.
Clintonhealth.org, okay. Okay, so you can learn all about that. And how's it been? Kind of busy? Little kids stopping in for
yes,
coloring
lots of kids stopping by. We have lots of different coloring activities over here. So yeah, we've seen a lot of different families today.
It's a busy day here at the
Yes,
mall.
yeah.
Nice to see that.
Yes.
All right, thank you very
All right,
much.
thanks.
So as Sue told us at the beginning, there's 25 to 30 folks set up here. This is the Clinton County Cooperative Extension set up right here, and this young lady is fishing for stuff here, so we obviously couldn't talk to everybody. We're going to head out and call it a day, but a very interesting day it was and is here for another hour and a half as we're recording here at 1:30 in the afternoon. And I applaud the efforts that all these groups are doing, particularly the Lake Champlain Basin Program for organizing all this and getting everybody together and sharing their wisdom with everybody who wants to know more about keeping the waterways safe and pure. Thanks for watching.